Welcome into the final Climate Friday newsletter of the month of September. Meteorologist John Burchfield here. Good to have you, whether you're watching on YouTube, online, or on WTOL 11+. Fall is officially upon us, and it's time to recap the summer season and also where do we go from here. We're going to be looking ahead to the next several weeks and also previewing what the month of October may have in store. How are you going to remember the summer season? Leave your answer in the comments below, and we'll recap some of the numbers and the statistics that went into our summer weather this year. Let's break down the numbers here, starting off with the beginning of fall. Saturday officially kicked off the fall season, and now we are 1 week into the autumn season. Of course, with the fall comes a drop in temperatures, and our normal high temperature is down to 73, and that's going to be dropping in a hurry. So let's start off at the very beginning with the month of June. Now, summer started off with some below average temperatures. You may remember this summer as one that didn't really feature any extreme heat. 82 was our average high temperature over the course of the month, and the hottest day was 92 degrees. We recorded that actually on a pair of days at the very beginning of the month. So we started off with some heat, but after that, not much heat to be found during the month of June. What about July? Here's what's next. July is statistically our hottest month of the calendar year. This year was near normal in the temperature department. We averaged a high temperature of 85 in July. We had some ups and downs, but overall fairly standard. Again, 92 degrees, the hottest days, and that was shared between the 5th and the 11th of the month. Each one of those brought us some low 90s. And then we go to August, another month with below average temperatures and really lacking in terms of major widespread heat, with an average high of 82 that month. Our hottest day was 93 degrees, and you may have noticed this summer we didn't hit the triple digits, let alone come very close. Now, September almost over, and our average high so far has been 78. Of course, this is the time of year where we start to see a big downward spiral in terms of those temperatures, and once again we hit 93 this month, so we have seen some heat in September, and we're not done with the warm days just yet. At the very end of this video, I'll be talking about what you can expect going forward into the month of October. So that's locally what we saw as far as the summer goes. What about across the globe? Toledo, Ohio is just one data point among many other cities, many other weather observation sites. This summer globally of 2023 was the hottest summer on record, and data from NASA shows that since weather records started in 1880, this was the hottest across the world, and we have seen a significant increase overall in summer heat. Even though it wasn't necessarily like this locally, 2023 was 0.4 of a degree hotter than any summer ever recorded. And of course, those records go back well over a century, and this one was quite a bit warmer than any other summer that has ever been observed. Now, in terms of what's average, we use this time frame 1951 to 1980 to look at the average summer temperatures, at least pre-climate change, and this summer was globally 2.1 degrees hotter than average. So while here in Toledo and Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, it wasn't really too exceptional as far as the heat goes, across the globe we were over 2 degrees warmer than it should be, at least for the summer season. Now, this map is interesting. It compiles all of the summer data across the globe and shows you who is warmer than average, who was colder than average. You'll notice an abundance of red on this map. Across North America, we had quite a bit of warmth and heat in the southwestern United States, but there were also some cooler temperatures. But the gist of that map is temperatures were well above average, at least globally. What about rainfall? Well, what this summer lacked in terms of heat, it made up for in rainfall. The summer started off fairly dry, actually. You may remember June, we got some beautiful sunny weather early on, and then it turned stormy later on. 2.3 inches of rain fell in June, which is actually below average. Now, during the month of July, that was an exceptional month in terms of downpours, thunderstorms, and widespread weather disturbances. We were about 2.5 inches of rain above average during July, with almost half a foot of rainfall during the month, and wet is how you may remember this summer. August also followed suit with 3.8 inches of rainfall, and that put us well over half an inch above average. Total summer rainfall, if you tally up all three of those months, 11.83 inches of rain, and we've tacked on to that in September as well. The wettest summer on record was 16.64 inches of rainfall, and that one occurred in 1989. 89. So not quite record shattering, but awfully close. So far in September, we've tacked on additional rainfall amounts. And depending on where you live, some of those rain gauges have gotten more rain than others, as rainfall tends to be a bit more pop-up, hit or miss during the summer season. We had a number of rainy days over the summer. Simply looking at rainy days with measurable rainfall, we had 26 of them. There were 26 days this summer with at least 1/100th of an inch of rainfall. And looking at a slightly higher threshold, 1/10 of an inch of rain, we still had 17 days. When you think of the summertime in general, you may often recall or think of sunny summer days. Well, this summer had a good number of rainy days and 17 days with 1/10 of an inch of measurable rainfall. Now, there is a climate link between those heavy downpours, especially slow-moving thunderstorms, producing very heavy rain. When it rains, it pours, and some of those inundating torrential downpours are getting heavier in nature. And this summer was really a case study in a lot of those slow-moving thunderstorms and severe weather that produced widespread heavy rain to the region. Recapping the summer season, overall, it was cooler than normal. Of course, we did have some ups and downs, but if you look at all of the data combined, we were 1.4 degrees cooler than average over the course of the summer. It was also wetter than normal. No surprise there. You may have received a ton of rainfall in your own backyard, and we were at almost 1 foot or 11.83 inches of total rainfall, and some areas saw even more than that, as the rainfall wasn't necessarily uniformly distributed throughout the summer. Now, fall is interesting because we are starting things off milder and drier, and overall, as we look towards the long-range computer models and trends in the weather, we are projecting a warmer than normal start to October. With these mild temperatures, we are starting to see some fall color, and we talked about this last week in the Climate Friday newsletter. Even though we're still about 3 weeks or so away from the peak of fall foliage, the color change has begun. As far as temperatures are concerned, early October is going to feature milder than average weather. You can see that color key at the top of your screen. Those bright orange and red colors show you temperatures that are above normal, and this weather map reflects the forecast all the way through October 10th. The Great Lakes region, much of the East Coast and the Mid-Atlantic going to be well above average. Cooler than normal conditions are going to be confined well to the Northwest. The Pacific Northwest seeing below average temperatures, the midsection and East Coast seeing above average temperatures. An update on the fall foliage now that we are starting to see some color across the Buckeye State. If you look up to the north of us, more moderate color in Michigan, where those night times have been cooler. Now, due to the impacts of Lake Erie, the colors are a little bit slower to change off towards the east and the lakeshore. Areas like Ottawa and Sandusky County out towards Erie County, those spots are about a week or so behind the rest of the region, but the inland areas, including the Toledo Metro, starting to see those beautiful and vibrant fall colors. And if you live out towards Sandusky, Oak Harbor, even Norwalk, you may be just a week behind, but by the time we touch base in next week's Climate Friday, likely to see some more color change. Overall, this summer, it wasn't quite as hot as normal. It was wetter than normal, but we are not done with the warm weather just yet. And as we go towards the month of October, you'll see that 10-day forecast. You can check the forecast on our WTOL 11 weather app. You'll see milder than normal conditions. Tune in next week for the first Climate Friday of the month of October. We'll see you then.